on this episode of Rev It Up.
We're hanging out in Chicago Autorama talking with Dave Kindig and Kev Dog from Bitchin' Rides.
Don't miss it.
All right, we're back here at Chicago World of Wheels. This morning we walked in, me and Jess, of course, are fashionably late as always, right, Jess?
Yeah, me more so than you as of late.
Yeah, it's all right though. You know, I was up late. You know, my kids are in town, so I had to do breakfast with the grandkids and all that stuff this morning. And we walk in this morning, talked to a couple people, and Mr. Rockstar here was in my booth. That'd be you, Mr. Kindig.
Oh, yeah, we were checking out the
So last week you won the Ridler Award with
Yes.
one of the. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. man.
Congratulations,
I mean, that
for
was
sure.
just.
Sure.
We were
Thank you.
watching the cars last week, Saturday in Detroit, and you were out there. I mean, it was hard to even get around it. It's cool when everybody's gone, so I can actually walk around the cars. And you don't know it, but I sit in your cars too. It's all right. I think
That's where it came from, Kev.
That's where it came from.
John.
I ripped. When everybody goes away and the security cameras up, I go climb in every car I can. It's so cool. I mean, that's why we sit at the show.
And he
for
has
18
me
hours.
take pictures.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
There was fingerprints all over the inside.
Oh, I was like, man, this car is so cool. This is so cool. I only had one Matchbox car because Foods told me to do it, so I only went like this a couple times on the quarterfinal.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all right.
It's got such a good little like
It is
half
good.
pipe
It's like a good
front
track.
of the rear.
Yeah,
yep.
if you take one of the monster truck mega trucks on the because you guys do awesome body work and it's all doing a body. You just launched a car, it went all the way off the front. It was
The
cool.
wheels
I
didn't
think
even turn. It was so slippery.
Yeah, I actually think it hit JS car next to it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we-
that's probably why you know. Yeah, so anyway, so tell us about the car, man. I mean, you won it. Jess didn't know. Told me to give a rundown. So the '53 Corvette, you were building at the prototypes and explain it to all.
Yeah, so I've been working on the CF1 program, which is our carbon fiber 53 Corvette styled vehicle that's called the Kindig CF1, and I've sold 30 of those cars. But when I was originally doing it, I wanted to build different body styles. I wanted to do a Speedster, which is the first ones. You guys have seen a lot of those. The second one, we actually introduced the Cabriolet, which was number 6 car for Tom Clark. That was at the SEMA show last year. It's a beautiful sage-colored one with the dark brown top and the Ferrari saddle interior. Beautiful car. That was the second body style. The third body style was to be a Nomad wagon, which it still may be. I've got a couple of those sold. And then more importantly, the fourth body style, I'd always intended on doing something which I always play off of the what ifs. What if the 1953 Corvette was available as a convertible as well as a fastback coupe? So that was the idea behind the car. So I hadn't really done anything with that. And about 5 years ago, I met Mr. Dave Maxwell. He's very much a car guy, super cool. I was actually doing a meet and greet in Pittsburgh at Autorama. And he wanted to meet me behind the stage and kind of just hang out for a minute and get to know me. And he had asked me, he says, I would like you to build me a car to compete for Detroit Autorama for the Riddler. I was like, that'd be an honor. Because at that point, I'm 20 years in business.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what kind of car are you thinking? He says, I have no idea. He
Yeah,
says,
we
you got
didn't know
anything in
either.
mind? And I was like, I always have stuff in mind. I don't really sleep much. You know, I kind of live, eat, and breathe custom cars. So
See, there's more people like me.
he says, why don't you put something together? Are you going to be, and I actually had a meet and greet here in Chicago 5 years ago.
Okay.
So he says, a couple of weeks from now, do you want to meet up with me? And let's talk about doing the car. I said, okay, I'll put some rough designs together. So I met with him at the upstairs show office over here 5 years ago. And I showed him the picture of a bubble top styled fastback 1953 Corvette that's sectioned 3 inches in the front of the body to 0 in the back. So it's a wedge chop or sectioning. So anyway, long story short, he goes, well, this is really cool, but do you think a fiberglass car would ever win the Riddler? I said, well, I'm not going to build it out of fiberglass. We're going to build it all out of aluminum. And he goes, So then I go back, and I always love to have my guys add to the ideas. So, of course, we're going to build this car, and the first thoughts
So
were
that actually is true. It's not just for TV, right,
Nope,
Kevin?
No.
No. We don't really have time to make anything up. It's sad.
No, we're so busy. So as we snowballed these ideas, I'm thinking, and everybody's like, okay, so what do you think? And I said, for engine, I said, I want to do something very exotic. The original cars, 1953, all were straight 6s.
Yes.
They didn't do a V8 until 55. And so I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, God, let's do a V12.
What?
So the Australian
Yeah. Why
company
wouldn't
called
you?
LSV12.com, and it's part of Racecast down in Australia. We got to talking with those guys. We signed NDAs back and forth. We actually got all of their designs. We took all of the webbing off the side of the block. We took all of the motor mount, everything off of the side of the
It's
block.
completely smooth.
Everything is
It's
smooth. There's just
unbelievable.
a shadow
You see
of
it in
each of the
person,
12 cylinders down the block, and then the suspension actually is part of the oil pan. Everything is mounted to the drivetrain on this car. There's literally one bar that could be fashioned that is relying on the body and the rear suspension. Other than that, that entire drivetrain could roll out from underneath that car.
That is amazing. That car, and again, it's what the car is actually sitting when you first walk in off to the left of there. Correct.
Correct.
Mhm.
It is amazing. I mean, it's just
And
it's unbelievable.
Did you say you started this vision 5 years ago?
Yeah, so about 4.5 to 5 years ago. I think it would be actually about 5 years from this weekend, actually.
And do you think it's more of a challenge when somebody gives you ideas on what to run with, or just an open canvas? Like, what do you want to do?
Well, I wouldn't tell anybody that they shouldn't tell me what kind of car they want or whatever. I love to build stuff off of people's taste. I try and take what they want, and then I try and make it make sense to everybody else, and make it to where it's going to be timeless. I don't like to do trendy things.
Sure.
A lot of our design elements that we use in, whether it's this car or the CF1s or a one-off Camaro or a classic truck, I try and do something that makes sense, that people will be attracted to it. I want them to walk around the vehicle and notice all of these things and take pictures and talk about it. I want them, more importantly, to come back 2 or 3 more times and notice 4 or 5 different things every time they walk around the car.
That's cool.
And that's really what works. And it does, like what we was on this car with the drivetrain and developing these ideas. Will, our genius, our resident genius, mad scientist he is, he says, why don't we build it out of aluminum, but let's do a full unibody. There's no chassis.
There's no chassis.
There's no chassis.
Yeah.
There's 3 major components. There's the upper body skins. There is a lower belly pan, and then there's a 3/8 thick aluminum monocoque in the middle of that creates all of the structure. The drivetrain, the body, everything is all compilated into one piece. It's rigid. It'll actually pull a wheel through a gutter. I mean, it's
Really?
pretty radical.
Yeah.
So was all the other Corvettes, because all the other ones were fiberglass cars, and they always had frames.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
So
they weren't as tough. They weren't as strong as this unibody.
No, not as strong as
So
the
the original frames were actually in '53 were actually riveted.
yeah, they're all
C-channels.
riveted
So,
C-channels back
that's
there.
why-
Because again, they didn't have a lot of horsepower back then. They were just 6 cylinders. I mean, what were they like?
But they had a lot of torque. They had,
A lot of
they had good torque. Yeah,
and most of them were all stick
Yep.
shifts.
Yeah, most all of them were.
Yeah, most
Yep.
all.
For those of us that don't know, as far as the Ridler Award goes, do the specs like that play into the judging factor?
Yeah, big time. So
Oh, it's-
basically what they're looking for is they're looking for engineering, fit, finish, quality, design,
I think level of difficulty too.
level
Okay.
of difficulty.
Yeah, that is one of your categories, level of difficulty.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it has to be really something that is beyond what is normal. I mean, there's so many beautiful cars here, so nothing against anybody. We're not
Sure.
trying to take anything away, but when we wanted to build a car, we wanted something truly that stood out. We wanted something that you would not see again for quite some time.
Yeah.
And we were so flattered to have not only other car owners, people that have won the Riddler before mentioning, that we set the bar very high, which
Sounds
is very
like it.
honoring to all of my crew. We worked so hard over the last 5 years and worked really well together in creating this car that obviously won the Riddler. But when they say that we set the bar so high now, I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Now what do you?
That's
but now what do
flattering.
you do?
Yeah, exactly.
I had Chip was obviously there with you doing a show last weekend in Detroit, and I had the opportunity. I got stuck in my booth for a minute after I had showed the judges around for 45 minutes on the car on that Saturday, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to people and meeting, greeting, and whatever, and somebody goes, "Oh, Mr. Foose," and so Chip and
I brought him over by you because he
Yeah.
goes, let's go freak Dave up. I'm
He's,
like, all right.
he's a great friend. I've always just admired his work. He is so talented. He's very generous with his time. He's just a wonderful person. He's got wonderful ideas. I took him for a half an hour inside of my display and showed him everything.
Oh, at least,
And
yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
it
it was,
cool.
so cool for him. He sent me a text later on telling me how impressed he was with the car, and it made him want to really get back into building these high end cars, which is, I think, just wonderful.
It's crazy.
He's just a great guy.
You at least I do. I look up to people like that, and when you see something that our team put together, and he's like, "Oh, this is it's inspiring me to want to do something different or better or more, it's just like, wow. Like,
Really?
who would have thought? I would never.
I think it's so great that you guys as car builders, you, Foos, I mean, everybody that used, I mean, you obviously you guys originated with the Boyd Coddington area and all this other stuff that goes on. I think it's so great that none of you guys actually, it doesn't seem to me, of course you got the Riddler, but you guys don't really compete against each other. You guys
It's always up
support
to the
each other.
judges. I'd rather have a beer with
You guys
somebody and hang out.
support
and
each
talk
other
cars.
so much. When Chip got to the show and we got him there to unveil the bike, of course, everybody knows this is what he did. It was the first one. He's like, John, let's go look at some Riddler cars. And I said, all right. And he goes, I got to go check out Dave's car. He goes, I heard it's just unbelievable because, and I don't think a lot of people realize that when you're doing a Riddler car, that is one thing. Obviously, the biggest thing in the world right now is social media. Everybody goes on, look at how many views, look how many likes, the reels and all that stuff. When you do a Riddler car, and correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot advertise anything about that car.
Yeah.
Can't be
They
seen.
cannot, it can't be seen, can't be talked
Promoted.
about, promoted, nothing about the Riddler car till the day it is unveiled in Detroit.
So imagine
So
having
nobody's got a leg up on anything. So that's what blows me away about this whole thing.
So imagine having 43 employees, a very excited owner of a company that loves to show everything off.
I think that's the understatement. I think that was
A
the hardest
six-person
thing
film
Dave
crew.
had. It was like, I can't show anybody this car. I have to wait 5 years.
I'm like,
looking at it.
It was
I
like
was
a little
so
kid.
surprised you guys kept that quiet because it's like everything you guys do. I always see Dave dancing around or he's doing, I'm taking this for a ride and do whatever. And I'm like, he didn't say nothing about the car. I was
Oh,
like,
No.
it was a struggle
I'll
for
bet-
him.
I'll
For
bet
sure.
it
It was a
My
struggle.
therapist,
Kevin, I'm like, come on. You're like,
My-
Dave, get off the phone.
my
That'd be like
therapist has made so much money on me in the last 5 years. It's crazy. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No."
It was like the day before Christmas for 5 years for
Yep.
Dave. I mean, that's real life.
So I got a couple of close friends, and I've always had this thing over the last 25 years called beer night. And it's just I keep all my friends away except for one night a week where we'll get together, have a couple of beers at the shop, and I'll kind of show them what's
I know
going
what
on.
that is.
And for 5 years, they've been like, "Dude, can we go in and look at what's in the room?" And I'm like, "No." And then one time, of course, I had a couple of Grandpa's cough medicines too many, and I'm like, "Hey, let's go. I'll show you." And I go over, and the door's
Yeah,
locked. I'm like,
because I knew better. I knew better.
kept
I
locking the door.
knew better.
See,
Oh man,
I'm not the only one too, because like it's like going with this Knievel display going on. Everybody's like, we were advertised, we're out by Shutton's place, we're trying, obviously you were so swamped. I knew what you were working. I knew you were working on Riddler cars, so we didn't get you and going with the touch up on the Rocket. And everybody's asking me, like, where's the Knievel stuff? Where is it? And I'm like, I want to say so bad. It's in my shop. It's in my shop. Come over. But I couldn't do it until the tour started. It sucked so bad. I'm like, I got the coolest stuff in the world.
Right.
And I'm like, it's in a trailer. It's all locked up. I can't show it to anybody. I mean, I hate it. I'm like,
I'll tell you exactly what it's like. It's exactly like finding out if there's any little kids, don't listen. It's like finding out where Santa Claus's stuff is in mom and dad's closet.
Oh, yeah.
It's locked.
It's locked. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
it's
kid,
that's
I've
not
just ruined
cool.
that for you.
Yeah. See,
Yes, sir.
It's just
yeah.
the
See,
same
I
thing.
grew
I
up.
told you to plug your ears.
Yeah. See, I grew up.
It's your own fault.
It's like the-
Yeah. I
I'm kidding. I'm sorry, kid.
yeah, I grew up on a farm. My cousin's over there. If we found out where the toys were, we're drilling a hole in it. We actually could take the door off the hinges and put it back on. We're pretty good back then.
If you want it bad enough, you'll get in there.
I was
You're
really,
gonna
I was really good at cutting the tape and then taping it back.
Me too.
Cut the tape back. Yeah, that was pretty good.
And
Yeah.
then just practice your surprise face on Christmas. Oh,
It's so I can't believe it.
It's just what I wanted.
I think that after 25 years, so a little bit of history for myself and Kevin, for that matter. I worked at High Performance Coatings for 8.5 years before I started my business 25 years ago this year.
25 years ago. Wow.
And so I knew, thank you. Well, only because my wife let me do it. Thank you, hon. And she's been the star really behind the whole show. But back then, I remember doing stuff for Troy Trepanner back in the day of Sniper, Bumungus, the Rumbler, Predator. I mean, all of these cars, I was doing the ceramic coating on exhaust systems and stuff. So I actually knew a lot about what Troy was building. Always admired him. He was super cool to me all the time.
Japan's an
He's
icon
a
of the
great
world.
guy.
Though, yeah.
He's just, he's definitely one of the most recognizably known badasses when it comes to cars. Building cars.
That was the name.
definitely
That was the name in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, he was the man.
Yep, absolutely. So I got to know a lot of people in the industry. And then, of course, when I decided that I wanted to go and build cars, I could make more money drawing cars out of my kitchen than I would make in 60 hours working on salary for HPC. And it was a great opportunity. I have nothing bad to say about where I
No,
spent
but
my
it was just
8.5 years.
you were going to the next level. I mean, that's what you
I
wanted to follow what you wanted to
But
do.
I wasn't building cars. I was self-taught. Legos, Hot Wheels, plastic model cars, drawing cars because I was impatient to wait for glue to dry. I started drawing cars,
fun.
and I learned how to get perspective from the Legos.
It's just so weird. I never thought of you as the impatient type.
No, I'm totally
All these years, you didn't know, Kevin? You didn't know?
impatience. Actually, my middle name. But so it just kind of snowballed into to get into business. I kept adding more things to my forte. I was self-taught. I'd watch guys in the Volkswagen Club doing bodywork and paint. I was watching other people metal shape and just figuring it out myself. Borrowed a hammer from Charity's dad, and I had a little wooden stool, and I just bend metal over it.
Just
And
done all over it.
I had a dolly. I didn't have an English wheel. I'd actually sit there and rub the metal to give the shape
Been there, done that.
to make a
Yeah.
bowl, basically. And so I learned by not having any tools how hard to work to try and get where I wanted to go. And it seemed like I just kept adding more and more fortes. When I first started my business, Kevin changed his schedule to come in the morning to my garage. He was doing airbag suspensions. I'm doing graphics, drawing cars, and selling parts.
So, Kevin, how long you been with him for?
I mean, I've been with him since the very, very, very beginning. Officially on paper, it's like 20 years this year, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
I was kind of in and out of the shop, moonlighting, helping out where I could.
Yeah.
But I still had another job. So
Yeah, and we worked together at HBC for about 3 years.
3 years. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he was doing this swing shift for a couple of weeks, first couple of weeks of my business, and his truck was under the knife. So he got dropped off at my place. We're trying to finish up this truck for this guy doing an airbag job, and I'm going to give him a ride to work. Well, we're running about 15 minutes late getting him there. I drop him off. I get on the freeway. My phone rings. He calls me. He says, "Man, I got fired." I was like, "All right." So I got off the freeway, came back and picked him up, and he goes, "Man, I can't believe you fired me." I said, "Don't worry, bro. We got shit to do."
Yeah, the rest.
That's
The
awesome.
rest is history.
Yep.
And the rest is history. So,
Yep.
that's the best part of, you, Foos, Coker, everybody I've talked to in this whole business, all you guys, your main guys, you guys been together for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
Nobody just started this. Nobody's just getting together. Like all the guys, even when we talked to Horny Mike, Kevin, those guys been buddies since Detroit.
Yeah.
All the stuff. And it's so cool going there, shopping behind the scenes in your place too. I mean, talking to you, I think first time we sat, we were just talking about the first time we actually got to sit with you was in Milwaukee. And we were having dinner and you came strolling in and you're like, and I think it was the Pinstripers thing. And again, you supporting everybody that you do. I think it was the Pinstripers Legends, right? They were for Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And they were short. You know the story I'm going with.
Yeah.
Children's Hospital, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They raised money for
Their therapy art program.
yeah. And the Pinstripe Legends are actually over in this corner over here.
They're great guys.
So they're great guys. Dave comes in, working all day on the show, signing autographs nonstop. And it's just, that was a little bit different show where they just kind of go up and down. They're just signing autographs. He comes in our hotel afterwards. The Pinstripe Legends are having their benefit hall and back there. He finds out in 5 minutes that they're a little bit short of being the goal of what they wanted to do that weekend.
Meeting $1 million.
Yeah. This dude finds out, buys a drink, goes in and cuts a check and walks away.
That's
Not for
awesome.
$1 million.
They
were close.
They
They
weren't
were
that
close.
short, but he covered the balance. And I thought,
thanks.
you know what? It was so cool. And then we sat and talked to you for a while. I mean, just the stand-up people in this industry are just, it blows me away every time.
It was quite an honor to be able to do that, to help them make their goal. And when I showed my wife the stack of napkins that had been pinstriped on, and
Yeah.
it's all Sharpie art on gold napkins, on place napkins.
On place
And
napkins,
my
right?
wife says, "What the hell are those?" I said, "Oh, these are napkins from all of the Legends airbrush guys in the pinstripers in Chicago." She's like, "How much you pay for those?" I was like, "Don't worry about it." and then she's like, "Those are some pretty damn nice napkins." I said, "Yes, they are."
They should be, right? See?
There was a lot of them.
See, just all,
There is.
all
It's
guys go to shows
literally
to spend no
tall,
money.
and I'm like, some of them they're all fantastic art. Every artist that was in there was drawing on their napkin with a Sharpie, and some of them actually used it. So there's some spaghetti sauce or something on some of them, and I'm like, I'm not going to wash these. I'll actually bleed out all of the Sharpie. So I just left them. They're in my bar, and I got a beautiful sign signed by everybody there. And like I say, I've always really admired it. I remember a couple of years ago, it was a different year. We were just, of course, drinking on Grandpa's cough medicine. Glenn from Billet Specialties, the owner, and I were over there watching the auction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting because they have this vintage 1920s, 1930s. They call it the Candy Girl, and it was basically their what do you call it?
Mascot.
Their mascot. And the Candy Girl has got a tray, and it's literally vintage, and they've restored it. It's the most beautiful thing, and I'm like, I'm buying that. Glenn's like, no, I'm buying that. I was like, cool. So we're getting there. I think it's the very last thing, the high line piece that's going to be auctioned off. And then I come to find out it's just their mascot. They're not selling it. I
I was mad.
I'd really like to have her. No, that's our mascot. I'm sorry, we can't do that. I said, I'll give you this much. And he goes, comes back, will you make it this much? I said, I'm much more comfortable at this much. He says, okay.
Money talks, baby.
I got that and I bought that for my wife. It literally is still sitting. It says cash only on the card right next to her office.
It says credit cards accepted.
Oh, no, sorry.
Credit cards up.
Credit cards.
It says it from the charity's office.
And you can
where,
see
we
it
have
from
to send
anywhere.
everybody up to go pay.
It's
See
beautiful.
charity.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Credit
it's
cards
absolutely
accepted.
gorgeous, and you can see it from anywhere in my showroom.
That's
It
cool.
literally is our mascot now, and I never forget about that. It was just a great opportunity to get that, and it'll never go away.
That is.
If it ever goes away, it's coming back here to Chicago.
Yeah,
but it'll never
that's where
go.
it should go.
Away.
It'll never go truly away.
Nope.
Never go truly away. So last week in Detroit when we were over there, and your Sunday at the awards ceremony, everything's going on. So you're sitting, obviously, mad stocks with all the final 8. You made the grade A on Saturday morning, right? Well, actually, it was Friday, right?
Friday, yeah.
Friday you make the grade 8, right?
Friday
Friday?
morning,
Yeah,
Friday
everything
morning.
always goes in a blur. So Friday you make the grade 8. Everybody's talking to Sturm. Saturday morning, everybody's around there. What do you guys think going into Sunday morning? Who? If you don't go through, because I love how you guys always root for everybody else. I mean, what was one of your favorite grade 8s besides yours?
Oh, JF's.
It was
JF's.
JF, right?
It was really- they were all great.
They were all great. I really enjoyed the Henry Jenner. I thought that was an interesting truck. That it's something I never would have thought about. It was cool.
I neither. JF's car blew me away though. I mean, that car was unbelievable.
The father and son team with that 58 Corvette. Was it 58 or
I think it was
61?
60
62.
something.
Might have been
Yeah.
It was a beautiful that orange.
That was a great
It
car,
was
a lot of work.
it was
10
a
years,
crisp
10-year
car.
build. It was
was
really
pretty
nice.
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it, at least for me going into Sunday, is, I mean, I helped put the car together. I was obviously part of the team. I know where every little thing is. Right?
You know where everything
I
is.
know where every it all is, you start to second guess. Okay, did they see all the things that I know that are there? Or does everybody else's car have all these things? Like, I'm walking into going, it's going to be what it's going to be. I hope we brought our best. So fingers crossed.
It is what it is.
I don't think, at least for me, maybe you felt different. I didn't go in there thinking, oh yeah, we got this thing in the bag. Like, absolutely not.
I actually
Never.
worried that we hid too many things. We didn't have enough things to judge.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that before. There was a beautiful car built, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago by David Lane. Nice 32 sedan, if I remember correct. I think it was a gray color, beautiful car, but it was so clean and simple that I actually kind of heard feedback from judges that perhaps it was just, there wasn't enough there to judge.
It was overlooked.
It was a beautiful car.
But it was so
David Lane
yeah.
builds an awesome car anyway, but there was just, and so I started second guessing myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I should have put more wires out. Literally the only wires on the entire car you can see are the spark plug wires.
On your car.
Yeah.
That's it.
Everything
There's
is-
no other wires anywhere. There's no hardware showing on that car unless you're looking specifically at the suspension.
I believe it was Friday night when Austin and again, Austin does our team takes all our pictures for everything we do on social media. I think it was Friday night when we actually, of course, we're gone and it's here to, we actually, of course, step over your things and go look at your car more. And I'm laying on your car taking pictures.
The footprints.
The footprints. I don't. You won. Who cares?
Guilty.
Yeah, you won. Who cares? Anyway, but I'm looking at him.
Touche.
I mean, we took so many pictures of that car. I'm like, this car is unbelievable. And then when we were talking to JF's car about his car too, we couldn't get, because Mike Waltenberry is a good friend of ours. He's a huge Ford guy. We were looking at both your cars, and when I was talking, Chip talked to you, and we talked to Jeff. I'm like, who's got it? Everybody was going to say, like, there's so many unbelievable high quality cars. Like, usually every once in a while, like you go to Riddler, like, oh, dude, he's totally got it in the bag. He just wait a minute. But it was that's how much you guys have set the bar over the last couple of years. And when Chip said that the other day about going through, and he was still talking about it when you guys came over through. He was talking to you, but I kept seeing him kneel down by the car, and then you guys going by the wheel. I'm like, Chip's like can't get out of the booth.
Yeah.
He couldn't get out of the booth. So that was really cool to me.
I felt it was so flattering, with whether it was Chip or the judges. It was almost, now looking back, it was almost like we had created a treat for them, challenging them to take it all in and to see things that they've never seen before. I mean, the way that we built the car, the way it's suspended, the way that the body actually crosses underneath the front lower control arm, the suspension being based on a brand new F1 or Indy car, single lateral coilover, all push rod, the boots on the steering, on the CD axles, on the push rods for the going in through the body into the luggage where the rear suspension is located, is all done in neoprene. And it's beautiful the way it all came together. These ideas are just everybody going, hey, let's do this. And it's like, Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. And we just make it work. So everybody in the shop
Yeah,
really had
cool.
input in
That's-
what we were doing. And
I think that's-
using the technology that we've got now compared to what we had 25 years ago. I think we really went over the top.
I think that's one of the best things, like watching on your show, even behind the scenes, any little things that you do on social and seeing what you do. You do the drawings and you come up with what you want to do and you hand it over to Kevin. We see it on TV, and obviously everybody sees you on TV as a show, but you actually on and off the camera involve the whole team so much in every part of the build of what they want to do. And it's not just for the show. I mean, it's actually really happens.
Yeah.
No,
So you do it. And I think that's the reason why you guys are so tight knit at what you do. It's unbelievable.
Well, I think that we've been very fortunate because a lot of times when you see some of these TV shows and especially the build shows, there's a lot of scripting. There's a lot of, hey, let's make this happen. Let's do this. Let's do that. And really, when I had 13 other episodes of My Classic Car, Car Crazy, Hot Rod Television, SEMA coverage, and Low Car TV, I was always a guest on somebody else's show. And one of the big experiences that we had, which was very successful in the sense, was Hot Rod TV building Apollo Anton Ono's 64 Cadillac called Zero Regrets. And that was a couple of years before we had the opportunity for ours. But what I realized from that is the film crew coming from California to hurry, and we have to take all of the stuff off the car, and then we're building up the scenes. We're being almost scripted. And, oh my God. And we literally were going to the SEMA show to debut the car because the SEMA show is not going to wait if we're a day late, right?
No, they're not going to wait at all.
It was being debuted at the kickoff breakfast on Tuesday morning before the SEMA show opened up. So we literally had to be there. This was on Sunday night. They have us taking stuff back off the car again for a different camera angle. And I finally said, hey, if we take one more bolt off of this car, we are not going to make it. If you can't capture it, we're done. We got to get going or we're not going to make it. So they then stood back. We finished putting the car together for the last time. We got it in the can. We literally went home, got our luggage, and went to SEMA and was there just in time to unload it and have it for that breakfast. When I had the opportunity to do the contracts with Discovery and Motor Trend, at the time it was Velocity, I said, look, I want you to capture what we're doing, but we're not going to do any made up bull crap. We don't have time for that. My customers are paying a lot of money for these cars.
Yeah.
I'm not putting them together, taking them back apart. Get another camera over there, put a camera there, capture it. Don't stop, my guys. No, hey, stop pounding and grinding. We got to get the scene. We'll do that in my other building. I have a second building. We do all of our stuff over on that in the other building, doing our where we kind of talk about what it is we're building.
Yeah, the build.
That way we can continue the build because we literally build 16 to 20 cars at a time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't think a lot of people know that you still have that much of a clientele that you do that many cars a year.
Yep.
A lot of people think it's a specialty car. I'm like, no, he puts out a lot of cars.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Dave says. I mean, I think you say it best. If you change the oil in your mom's car, they'll capture it. I mean, that's how much footage they need to do a season of bitching rides. I mean,
they love the content.
Everything that we're doing, they're capturing. And like I said, we do anything, they'll capture it. That's a day in the life of what we do every single day.
Yep. So, and I feel that all of us here are all, very close knit and stuff. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We actually, for the last 4.5, 5 years, filmed the entire build of that car. And there's a mini series, 8 episodes coming out of the build of that car before season 11 will kick off.
Nice.
I was actually waiting for that to be announced. Spoiler alert. So it's finally going to be announced that that will be seen.
Yeah, you'll get to see the entire build, which is just an incredible amount of work. I mean, I have no idea how many hours are in that.
It's
car.
going to be very interesting to see how much you've really aged in 5 years.
You did a before and after picture.
By the
He
way,
started wearing. He didn't wear glasses before the Riddler. Now he has a mustache.
Where did Dave go?
Like things have changed.
Yeah. Things have changed. Your hair changes.
What would you guys collectively say was your biggest challenge with this build?
growing this mustache.
Jeez.
I do hear that's hard for some people, so congratulations.
I would say just completing. I mean, so it was a Riddler car, and the whole crew had all of these ideas, and just trying to get through everything to try to encompass all the ideas. It's like we were talking about the other day. It's like the original idea on the brakes for that car we were going to do. The idea was to do perimeter brakes,
Like a Buick.
to the wheel,
Like
right?
to the wheel, right?
Yeah,
And it was-
invert the caliper outboard, and the rotor is actually in of the outer part of the rim.
And that was one of the original ideas. And we got to the point where like, hey, we're out of time. We have to just go. So we're going to have to go with regular brakes.
Yeah.
Did you realize that like 5 years have went by? I mean,
Oh, it goes so fast.
Believe how well, actually the challenge, one of the biggest challenges, I think, really, if you think about it, in the last 5 years, we've had a major global pandemic.
yeah.
So our motor was actually, the engine from Australia was actually a year and a half late. We actually 3D printed a block so we could continue to build.
Wow.
I have a full size heads, valve covers, intake manifold, block, V12, and our oil pan.
That's cool.
And the
You want it, don't you?
Oh, I want it. I want it right now.
want it.
I want it in my showroom so bad. I want it in my showroom right now. Yeah, I want it. I want it.
Here's 30. He's like, I want that for my
Yeah,
shop.
it's like, okay, I'll take that.
So that was one of our things is we had to just basically adapt to what we were able to pull off, and so it was actually a big challenge there. We had a lot of challenges, and also one of the other big challenges too is because we do all aspects in one place. That is truly an advantage for us.
Yes.
But at the same time, if the interior guys have to be in there, you got to be done wiring. If you're not done wiring, or you're waiting for a windshield frame, or you're waiting for the glass, or you're waiting for the luggage, everything has to fall into place because you can't put some of it together and then take it all back out to put the one thing that was being, delayed. And so just organizing all of that stuff, basically, what do you call it? Training and dancing kitties?
Okay.
Herding kittens. That's
Yeah.
what
That's
I
a good one.
elaborated on the cat thing,
Let's
but
get it-
my point is,
cats. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So,
and
yeah,
like
it
you
was a
said, the
lot of work.
pandemic. There's so many shops. Again, we talk to people. So do you. We talk to people around the country every single week on what's going on with this build. We'll go around the country, and even we're from Wisconsin. And it's like you got the Ring Brothers up, we got everything, and even Waldenberry, like he restores like Torinos and stuff. And we sent a customer up there. I'm like, you specialize in 69 Torinos. Put the quarters on. He goes, I can't get quarters for 2 years.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
how can you not get rear quarters for 2 years? Just order them. And I'm like, who would have thought about there's something as simple as a rear quarter?
Right.
But and then what you're doing is some different demographic, and we're going through. It's so much fun, but when you're going through that stuff, even I think when we were talking about in Detroit when I had Chip on the podcast, he was talking about how when he was on overhauling, I had no idea. I'm like, he was talking about how you were doing your car, and he was laughing about how you had to keep it under wraps for 5 years. He goes, I don't know how he did it. I wouldn't have been able to do it. So, but he was talking about even when they did overhauling, they did those cars in 8 days.
Oh, yeah.
And I had no idea. And I said, how are you? So he let that little out of the bag. He said every car that they would do, he would get 2 cars. So while the team was working on the bodywork and the paint and the chassis, the first day they would take it apart, sandblast, paint it, and do it. The next day they're already putting the drivetrain together. The donor car, the dummy car, they're already putting the interior car in the interior building interior in that car the first day it's on the shop.
Yeah, like speaker boxes and all that.
Speaker
I
boxes
saw
and
that at SEMA. Yeah, I saw.
I was like,
them at SEMA.
wow. So then they have to deliver the car in 8 days because they did so many, and I had no idea. It was, what do you say, 18 years or something was on it? It was crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it was quite 18, but he'd
it
been
was
around.
a
He'd
long
built
time.
a
It was
lot
a
of
long
cars.
time. But
Yeah.
so by the time they're done, that way by the time Chip gets it out of paint, they're doing whatever. They take the full interior, everything back out of that car and put it in the go. Okay, so that's just don't. I'm like, that's how TV works.
He figured out that there's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
He also figured out with 10 people, that's 240 hours in a day. 8 days. I'm going to do the quick math. What is that? 3,000 hours. You can build a pretty nice car in 3,000.
3,000 hours. Yeah. And they did it. And
You're
they
just
proved
hired
it.
on it.
It's amazing when people say, well, I'm going to work on this car for 10 years. Like, we built it in a week. Well, they had a great shop. Well, no, it's work. And so many people working together. And even in your shop, when watching your shows, and everybody's working on a hood of this. I mean, even the artwork on I think it was like a 65 or 66 pickup. I saw the inlay on a hood at one time. And you guys were doing it. It was unbelievable that 3 or 4 guys were working on it. Now, most of the shops that we know across the country, body guys argue with each other from one side of the car to the other, and they don't want to get out of the body shop, do other stuff, and I'm, doing stuff. Chip had a guy working on every single panel. You have somebody working on, and it's like, I know not everybody gets along all the time. I'm sure there's wrenches thrown in every garage.
Oh, no, everybody loves each other in my place. There's never an
Also,
ounce of
by on
animosity.
holding hands.
They come by and holding it. Is it every Kevin, do you do it every morning before people start?
I don't
He's
know
so
if it's like
hungry in the
that. Like
morning.
it's like just get to work or get out of my way.
Just got to work, got to get out.
Better get something done today. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So is there
Discipline and what?
What respect?
Respect
This-
for
this- uh,
Respect.
See,
Yeah.
now,
Which side do you want? Which side do you
I
want?
want. What did I just tell you the other day? I was laughing so hard about the old the interview with oh my gosh, the Sean Connery.
Oh,
Sean Connery. I was laughing so hard about this.
you're like slapper upside the back of the
Yeah,
head.
I think he was with Barbara Walters. Did you ever see this? I was
Uh-uh.
laughing because you just made me remind of that because he got so bashed before he passed away, and he was like, she goes, well, you admitted like hitting a woman. He goes, you don't got to hit a woman. Sometimes you just got to smack him in the back of the head a little bit,
Smack 'em.
And he said that, and like everybody bashed him for it.
You can almost you can hear a pin drop.
You could hear a pin drop, and he even said the same thing very well. He goes, "Well," he goes, "I'm sure at some point in your life you need to be smacked in the back of the head too." And like he didn't stop, and I'm like, "Oh man."
Media training. If you're ever in the position, get media training. You'll be very, very nice. Other than the part about Santa Claus earlier, I've been perfect.
You've been
all the way
really,
across.
really good across. I mean, there's a couple kids crying in the back, but it's cool.
I know, but don't worry about it. They're going to be so much better off.
They'll
That's
forget
great.
it.
That's
Yeah,
great.
They'll be on there, as far as that goes. So, so now where's the tour going? You gonna finish the tour with the car, or how many more stops?
So this is the last stop for the east side of the country. We're going to go back home. I've got a couple other places I got to be the next few weeks. I'm in New Jersey next weekend, Winnipeg at World of Wheels up there the weekend after, and then we have I think Easter the weekend, and then after that we have Salt Lake Autorama. So we'll have it. The next show that'll be at is our hometown. We're going to be celebrating our 25th anniversary at the Autorama in Salt Lake.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're going to be there. We're bringing Evel out there, and we're going to have a lot of fun stuff. And
Nice.
we got this morning. You were over here in the Evel thing, and of course, I want to make sure we talk about everything like the Riddler car and all this other stuff. You came over this morning, and what about Evel? You know anything about Evel Knievel a little bit? I know you do. You got some.
I don't know a lot about him. I know that when I was a kid, I had one of those. They had the heavy wheel ripcord kind of a thing, and I had the Evel Knievel motorcycle.
Yeah.
I had one of
That's what I
those.
was talking
I thought
about.
it was rad.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the value of that would be now. Do you have one here?
I've got my whole toy collection in the cabinet over there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
You know which bike I'm talking about, though.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I've
And
got them
then,
all over there. Yeah.
How many of those do you have?
I'm a crazy toy guy. I don't know why was obsessed with it. So I think Evo bikes. I probably have over 100 of them.
So you won't miss.
So two.
No, I know one's gonna go too. I know. Yeah.
Friend, like it's just like one.
So well, I mean,
Also-
I'm making a deal here for that V12 Black. Last week I made some deals on the air. I heard there was a deal. You just have extra 3D printed blocks.
Yeah.
Inside. So it's like
So I just sent Charity to go get quarters so I can put Kevin in the rocket ride.
yeah.
the rocket ride.
Yeah,
Just
that's
shake it
the
around.
line.
Yeah.
Like,
Just shake it around a little bit. Yeah.
I'm ready for the parachutes.
Dave Shutton was here earlier. He comes. He's always over the place.
He's a great guy.
And Shutton goes over here earlier. He takes over, and he's always moving stuff around. Like it says, "Do not touch" everywhere. You know how we have to do it. So last week we caught him in Detroit. He's got the "Do not touch" thing like this. He takes a picture of it by the rocket, And then this morning he's like, "I didn't even know what he did. He did so fast." He goes, "I moved your cardboard cutout," and I'm like, "What'd you do?" So he moves the cardboard cutout of Knievel right in the middle of it. And as soon as he does it, he's taking pictures, making goofy face. Shutton does it. And right after that, like 10 people line up to do the same thing that he did. I'm like,
Selfies with
thanks,
it.
Dave.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks, Dave. He's like, I mean, that's
Nice.
what he does. He's another just salted earth dude who's always coming around and
He's
doing
a good
stuff.
dude.
So, oh, yeah. It's good. I mean, we got a really busy crowd, man. The place's getting packed again, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's busy.
that's crazy.
Been
You know what?
steady.
You know what's fun? My wife and Kevin and I are the only ones out here doing taking care of the car this weekend, and Kevin will be driving it back, and it's weird to actually just walk the show.
No, we
I
don't.
mean,
really
we're giving it a shot anyway. I mean, we do get stopped a
No,
bit,
but-
With my hands,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
and I certainly don't want to offend anybody.
No.
I think we're very generous with our time, but sometimes when you're like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to get a beer,"
Yeah, you just
all of a sudden you say that, and like 10 people walk up and hand you a beer. And it's like, what am I going to do with all these? And if I do what I think I'm supposed to do with these, who's taking me the hell out of here on a stretcher? Because
That's how I got diabetes.
is that no? You got
That's how-
diabetes from eating too many candies.
No, that's the cookies that people
the
bring.
cookies.
Cookies and candies are
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Being on the road,
Yeah.
that's terrible. That's my problem. Well, I mean, that's my excuse. I mean, I eat them on my own, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Same.
Yeah,
Same.
same. Yeah, I blame it on everybody else all the
Same.
time. Yeah,
Every day.
all the time. Yes, I blame it on Jess all the time at home.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, Twinkies. Twinkies are good. Ice cream is
So,
awesome.
so let me ask you this: while we're here, so where's the Knievel truck?
So the semi.
Yeah.
So the truck is owned by Latham McKay and the museum down in Topeka, Kansas right now.
Okay.
It's fully restored. Last weekend in Detroit, actually, we had Rob Mariani from American Trucker. Remember that show?
Mhm.
He was with us. He actually works for me now for Motor Mania Media. Great guy, very high strung. Great guy, really good guy. Very energetic.
Very high strung.
He is
I like
crazy energetic. He's unbelievable. I love that guy. So they restored that semi. It's in a museum, and we're actually going to be everything that we used to on display here. It's on tour. Everything that's going on is going to be back in Las Vegas by December. We're going to announce a groundbreaking here coming up pretty soon, and there will be a
cool.
two-story Evel Knievel museum finally.
In Vegas.
Finally going to hit in Las Vegas where it belongs, back where it goes.
Very
So,
cool.
so is that will the semi end up there?
A semi will end up.
'Cause I really want to see it.
It's
Like I'm a truck guy through and through, and I've just been while we've been talking, I've kind of been
have you watched? That's why I
watching
played,
the monitor over here. I'm just like, I want I want to touch that. Like I want to see that.
Just sit in the chairs and the whole wardrobe is there. And I'm telling you, that Lathan has done everything. He brought this brand back the way it was. It was going dormant for a little while and going through. I mean, in the history of everything we do, even way back when you're talking Troy Japan or you're talking all this other stuff, Boyd. I mean, I think so many people were going so fast, we're escalating so fast. Like you just said, you set the bar. So now all these other stuff of how we grew up with Evil and all these other great things that happened, all the icons back in the day. It's great that we have all these Travis Pastrana and all this stuff, but I don't want anybody to forget about this. This is where we start.
This is cool.
This
Well,
is so
in my era. I was born in 71.
no,
Oh, he was not. He was born in 61.
61. See, there we
That
go.
makes him a 63.
You aged a lot over the last 5 years.
I age every couple of minutes with this guy around.
And write that down, everybody. 61.
So
61.
it's funny. My birthday's on February 6th, and I always kind of brag that Ronald Reagan and Bob Marley were born on the same day.
They were.
And I'm bragging it up. And one of my guys goes, "You do realize both those guys are dead, right?"
That's something my kids would say to
You
me.
put it that way. I guess I'm not as excited about that as I was
You know,
as earlier.
the iconic things that that you guys tell you all the
But
time.
I also got the best birthday gift ever this year. Dyslexia. I'm 35.
There you go. See, it goes. See, look at it. It's
It
getting
would
better.
be
It's getting better.
16. It's
You'd be 16. You'd be 16.
Try again.
He can't.
Well,
count
I
on me.
figured you were trying to disguise yourself. You actually grew it all the way up to a full goatee this year. So
Yeah, actually, first time. Actually, second time. I went on the Legends tour 8 years ago. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. I went on the Good Guys Legends tour right after Gary Metters had passed away.
okay,
Had a great time. It was 8 days on the road. Met Kevin down at Texas Motor Speedway to the end of the trail. We actually started in Illinois and at the Roadster Shop.
Okay.
So had a wonderful time. But in the entire time down there, I had never tried growing facial hair other than this. This is like the calling card. This is what my wife's used to seeing me come in the door looking like this every time. So on that road tour, I'm growing it and I'm sending pictures to her and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. And then
I love that.
right before the end, she's like, "Hey, it's kind of cool. Leave it on."
So I think he called you like the pool
Pool boy.
The pool
Yeah,
boy
she
for
called
a
me the
couple
pool
weeks.
boy. It was awesome. I got home.
then you know you're in.
We got reacquainted with each other, I guess.
After I got the pool cleaned.
Yep.
Chevy cooked him
The
dinner.
next morning, next morning, I give her a kiss and she's like, "Oh, okay, go get that thing off." So I shaved it off. When we got back from Australia from the Adelaide 500 over Thanksgiving weekend this last year, I hadn't shaved and I decided not to anymore because we were wrapping up on filming season 10. We were already doing season 11. I've tried to keep my appearance the same as they asked me to
They ask you
from
to,
Motor
right?
Trend Discovery to not do radical changes. Everybody else, when they heard that, instantly thought, okay, it's a beard growing contest. Everybody started shooting hair out of everywhere. And I didn't. And I'm like, I'm the only one that looks the same. So then I was like, after 10 years of filming,
I'm gonna change it up.
I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. So this is here. I might slick my hair back one day. I might spike it up the next day. Hell, I have no idea what I might look like tomorrow. We'll see.
Good for you, Dave.
Thank you. I feel good about it.
That's why
Grow whatever. I mean, at your age, you should be able to do what you want.
you should be able to.
Ladies do like the facial hair.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I told my kids and I told Jess I was gonna shave it. My daughter told me one time, Ella, my little one, she said, "Ugh." She
You
said,
should have seen him before all this. You should have seen him.
I
It wasn't good.
we're shaving for a while, and Ella goes, "You just look terrible."
Yeah.
My daughter,
Wow.
she goes, and I'm like,
You look
"Wow."
like a
I'm like, "Thanks."
It's all good.
Yeah, she's like,
Don't
"Don't."
keep him humble.
Yeah, she's like, "Don't ever do that again." I'm like, "That's I thought my dad was really cool growing up. I'm like, oh, he's a cool biker guy. You just shaving." And I'm like,
No.
I have 4 daughters. They have no filter. They're like, "Dad, you look terrible. Put facial hair back on." I'm like, "Thanks. That's okay." Yeah. So it's
And he hasn't shaved a day since.
no.
There you go. You look great.
It,
You look
I guess when it hides and stuff, what are you gonna do?
That is one thing you have to get used to is like licking off your breakfast. It's like, oh my God.
Jeez, Dave.
I still have,
Just keep it off your lip.
I still have,
You do.
Or using a
I still have
napkin.
toothpaste on my beard. Oh my gosh.
No, Kevin, let's be honest here. You got to take care of him after lunch. Make sure he looks okay.
Nah, that's my
It
wife's
just
job.
depends on if Charity's around. If Charity's around, I'll let her do it for you.
But otherwise, you might help out a little
Come
bit.
here. It's like, let me get your
Let me-
Face.
give him a tap on the back.
Oh, I did a good job, right?
Yep, like his hair back. Yeah, I see him doing it. So it's like 3 feet long. He just
You got
this.
Yeah, right.
Any lions in the bush? Nope. Okay, we're good.
Lions is a
Lions. That's
I just made that up. I usually
Yeah,
say any bats in the cave, but I don't want to go there.
that's in cave. That's really good. So now what's left for the rest of the day? You're gonna hang out and get a beer and chill out.
Yeah, we can
Try
have
to be
a good time.
normal.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to walk around,
Are you
check
gonna
out
put
some
a, are you
cars.
gonna put a baseball hat on so nobody knows?
No. If I tell everybody what my disguise is, they'll stop me again.
That's
So,
good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
the sombrero, the Elton John glasses, the white scarf. Oh shit! I just did it.
See?
I just
Again,
told everybody what I was gonna.
There- there
he
you go.
can't keep a secret. I told you guys.
No, you can't keep a secret. So what's the next big crazy build? Can you tell her?
I can't tell you.
I know.
But can you?
You want
Or
to? Though.
can you?
You want
I
to?
think we can.
Sure.
What are you thinking? There's so many things, honestly.
I
What
can't
are we doing?
tell you. I can't tell you.
I
We've been asked to build an amber.
No, you can't say
Look,
that.
look,
and half.
Like that.
He's like, well,
So, okay.
Well,
We're
I'm not going to tell you what it is.
We're just going back to building CF1s at the shop. We got
Yeah,
an
we'll push the
Oldsmobile
easy
Super
button.
V for a while.
Got some really
Their-
cool.
Their dynamic and our dynamic is the same. Like you two have a lot of similarities, and I can see a lot of similarities with me. And
Oh, I want to
He
wrap.
messes with you all the time.
I wanna-
nonstop. Doesn't
Where it is, like this. Like,
poking
oh,
the
dude, like
rain.
I'm like,
both in.
see, the problem with her though, she'll fight me back. So I'm like, I'm gonna punch you so bad. I swear to God.
I'm a
And all the
fighter.
next thing you know, she'll like spear me on.
I've lost my therapy license, so you might want to find somebody else to tell the story to.
You know, it's
I
you know,
am not a therapist anymore.
I can't. She goes, you were supposed to keep that a secret. I'm like, what? You know,
I'm
Sounds
excited.
exactly like me.
Oh, that's it. He's
I
like,
can't help
he goes
it. I'm
like
so
this.
excited.
He goes, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm just like, jeez, I thought it was supposed to be a secret.
And he's
Make
the
up
one,
your
he's
mind.
the one like we can't tell anybody, and then next he'll be like, well, guess what's coming up?
I already heard because Dave told me over there. Oh,
I do it to her every week. I swear. You are right. It's true.
That's exactly why I locked the door.
Yeah.
Left for beer night.
I would hold the key too.
It was like last week. We're on the road. We're on the road 24/7. So if somebody calls me, they found me a 65 Riviera GS sitting around the corner. Let's run the corner from my shop. How can you not go buy it around the corner from the shop? And the guy's like, well, it's my front. So I didn't tell anybody until she's like, well, I thought you were going to tell anybody. And next thing you know, she's like, there was somebody at the shop sending pictures of this orange car. That's on her. She goes, and I said, well, I told one guy. She's like, well, I was so excited. How often do you find a 65? It's sitting in a barn. We're from Wisconsin.
one of my favorites.
So we're from Wisconsin. One of the biggest things we're known for is like you guys are out in California and down south and all this stuff. So you guys have beautiful weather for your car lawn.
No, we don't. We're in Utah.
Well, you. Okay,
I get 4 seasons. Yeah,
You get 4
it's
seasons.
snowing right now.
It's snowing right now.
Sucks. Yes.
That's
So and up by us and was where we're at, everything gets locked away October, November, and it's so every single winter we get calls. Hey, I'm cleaning out a barn. I found a barn. This is in a barn. Come and look. So we go digging barns all winter long, and somebody lose their storage. There's a divorce, you know. So it's like every single time. You know how hard it is to try to hide all these cars when
Oh, I
you
bet.
buy
From your wife or from everybody else?
everybody else.
Everybody else.
I don't hide anything from her. She goes with me. She digs in barns all
Right.
the time. She digs in barns all the time. So it doesn't matter. But it's hard to keep a secret. It really is. Yeah. Because
No,
especially
when you're
it's so
excited
cool.
about something, yeah, you want to share it with people.
Yeah.
And
But it's like,
that's me. I'm a very sharing and caring type of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Yeah.
It's a hard time
Let me
shutting
just
my mouth
twist this
and
around.
keeping a secret.
Right. You guys are so innocent. I can
Oh, yeah.
yes, it's not our fault. We just like sharing. Look how many people are listening now.
Not our
Like, yeah.
Right?
They're still listening for what's next in the shop. But you didn't. I want Dave to spill. I want to catch him. But
No, we've sold 30 of my CF1s.
yeah.
So we're building a lot of those. I'm getting really creative with colors and combinations because I always said I will never do two the exact same colors.
I know but that bums me out. It really does.
It's actually it's really becoming quite a challenge. It's actually fun because I'm finding different themes. We're doing right now. Number 15 is
So
going to
that
go
is
to
the
East
actual
Coast.
rule. You won't build two of the same
I won't
color.
do two the same color. I can do another white one with red interior, but it won't be the same white, and it certainly won't be the same red. I'll make sure that each one of
That's
those
a really
stands
cool.
out
I've
as
never-
its own
I never
piece of
done it
art.
before.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
and then that's what and he's starting to really embrace it and enjoy it. And you know, as we build more,
It's a
of these
challenge.
cars, we build more of the cars, they're easier and easier. So I thought, well, our job's going to get easier, but Dave's job's going to get harder. And he's just really pulling the stops out. The last couple of ones he's drawn, I'm like, because I really thought
kinda
you just
cool.
kind of like have like a artist block at some point, and you're like, I don't know what to do now.
He's just getting better.
Yeah, he's just getting better.
I find inspiration in a lot of different things. I remember
Well, being in 61, I mean, there's a lot of heritage.
Yeah,
a
exactly.
lot to draw
Yeah.
from.
interviews over. 61.
But 35 years old, you're pretty spry out though.
No, thank you. So I find inspiration. There was a gal that was on a flight sitting next to Charity and I don't know, probably 2 years ago. And she had, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the frame of the seat was like a titanium matte finish. And there was a beautiful orangish yellow tan leather bag sitting next to it, and the two next to each other, the sun went across it, and I just captured that. That is the interior on number 6 is Ferrari saddle
Really?
with that contrast in that color, that darker
is so
color.
cool.
And it's just, there's just things that just stick in my mind. There's wonderful designs of designer shoes. You'll find patterns and things about those shoes. You're not going to put a shoe in a car, but remember blue suede shoes.
Blue suede
The
shoes.
car,
man.
the theme of that had a really very warm, almost like an English leather string, like a shoe
Going through
string,
it, like a shoestring.
laced up, almost like a, what do you call it? The
Corset.
corset. Yeah, exactly. It was woven that same way. We used suede. I used dimpled holes, breather holes,
All the
the
way
jagged
through.
cut for, almost like a French type of
You tried a lot of
cut,
stuff
and I
back
just-
in the history.
I really like to add those artistic things and themes to the car so it makes sense inside and out, and you get a theme and you just run with it. So
I think that's one of the things that has changed so much in the industry over the years. From even the '90s, it seems like all the hot rods back in the day when you're talking Troy Trepanner days and Scotty Sullivan, all those guys, even when they were going through all the hot rods. I mean, we had great crazy colors in the '90s that was going on with the crazy stripes and the pinks and neons, and that was just a '90s theme. And it seemed like back then everything, to me, as far as I remember, there wasn't that many crazy custom interiors back then. It would seem like 90% of the thing was like a gray cloth interior.
or tweed, yeah,
Or tweed.
Yep.
And what you guys have done with the interiors in the last 10, 15 years, it's a work. The interiors are almost more a work of art than anything. You guys went from, the bodywork is always cool. You'd see the wheels, you agree, everything, everybody's designing wheels. But the engine bays have changed so much. It's unbelievable. It's a work of art. And the interiors, they're bar none. It's the craziest stuff I've ever seen. The stuff that you came through in the vet, I mean, all of them. I mean, all you builders all around the world. I mean, what you're doing with the interior is such a challenge. It was never like that before.
Right.
Back in the day, it was cool if somebody went, what is it, tuck and roll interior? They went to cross the border and go out to Mexico and get a tuck and
diamond
roll.
tuck.
Diamond tuck. Dad's like, oh, I took it over. It's got a tuck and roll. I remember hearing that for years when we were growing up. What kind of interior? Oh, it's got a tuck and roll interior in my 55. That was all it was.
Yeah.
And now what you guys have started doing, and then they would change it. They put some newer seats out of Camaro with reclining seats and all that stuff. But now what you guys are doing, you're
This
cutting
is all
seats.
3D printed.
It's all three. It's
CNC
insane.
machined.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much cool stuff in that car. And really, when you talk about the 12 Air, every angle that you look at that car, I want it to capture you, bring you in. It has speed at every angle: front 3/4, rear 3/4, low angle looking up at it, tall angle looking down on it. We had a picture in Detroit taken 20 feet in the air from the guy that was putting the lights up for us, that was
cool.
pointing down the spotlights, and I handed him $20, and he goes, "Oh, you don't have to pay me." I said, "No, I do, because if it sucks, you're going back up there to take it again." I said, "Let me buy your lead." He wouldn't take my money, but he took the coolest picture, and it literally looks like a die-cast car sitting on somebody's coffee table.
That's cool.
That's what I
It's
love
just
about it.
crazy. When you look at all of the light, the way it sprays over the car and the bends. My guys do such a great job in the body fitment, the gapping, the bodywork, the paint, and the polish. I mean, every line, if you look at it, it goes through the chrome, the window, into the paint, and they're straight and perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
everything lines up perfectly on the car, and they just I just can't
knocked it out of the park.
I just can't tell you how happy I am with the family and the crew that has put that car together with us, and it's just an amazing accomplishment for all of us.
Well, props and hats off to you, man. I mean, you just definitely
Well
deserve
deserved.
Riddler this year. So thanks a lot. And thanks for actually coming over to the time this morning and, checking out the display. And thanks for coming back and being on the show. It was great.
Thanks.
We're always hoping to inspire the younger groups, and for any of you kids out there that want to get into this type of thing, set your goals really high and don't ever stop. The only person that can stop you from succeeding is yourself.
That's right.
It's true. And I don't think a lot of people realize it. And we'll kind of wrap up with that because I know a lot of crowds are coming around. But you actually have your own little design in the school, right? For doing the kids. I mean, you still got that going on?
No, actually, we're still support Lincoln
still
Technical
support Lincoln
Institute.
Tech,
Yeah,
right?
we've
But
actually
you're
backed
doing
off of
stuff.
it. We figured out you cannot teach somebody how to build a car like we do in 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and honestly, we're having great success, and they still are doing some of the classes. The Kindig Academy was a great attempt at something that was a
Yeah.
beautiful idea. The reality of the situation is there's not enough people to keep it open,
Right.
unfortunately.
And that's the biggest thing.
The trades that they're teaching in there, they're doing a fantastic job. It obviously takes more than 6 weeks. And so we did kind of figure out that the 3-day courses, the 1-week courses were successful, but for the overhead, the trainers that we have there, the teachers,
It takes a lot.
it just was not a good program in the whole scheme of things. You just cannot teach somebody how to do what we do in 6 weeks. You can
Yeah.
teach them
No,
that, but
no,
we were hoping.
we were trying to get all aspects really
you were-
brushed up,
yeah,
and
you
it just didn't work out. But again, we still have wonderful friends there. We have a great partner in that sense with the Lincoln Technical Institute. They got facilities all over the country, and they do a wonderful job. But we gave up that spot, I believe, for Caterpillar.
Yeah.
I think it was Caterpillar came in and they wanted the spot, and it was like a no-brainer. It's like,
There you
okay,
go.
let me go. Well, I'll come and get my couch.
Yeah, there we go. Get my coach out of there.
But again, we will always support them. And there's wonderful other schools out there, and certainly, I encourage everybody, get an education. It's a lot faster than just figuring it out on your own. Trust me.
Well, and I think again with your car builders that you're doing, you, Foos, all these guys that are actually just drawing the car. These kids saw it. Even like Justice on Kagan is an art. I think they're realizing that you don't just have to be a grease monkey to do this anymore. That there's so many people that they can draw and they can design, and then they can work with somebody else to do it. I think that's what you guys have done. You've changed the game quite a bit with that. That people can design something in their head. They don't have to just be in a garage doing that, and they can actually use their artistic skills. Right? Drawing the car out, the interiors, all that stuff. And I think that's changing the industry of what we have going on also. I mean, you look at all these young kids out here that even watching, listening to you right now that are part of the car world. I think that's cool. I think it's the best part about doing this.
Wow. Thank you. So Red Fox, one of my very favorite comedians.
Who? That's a
Red Fox
comedian.
No, he's from all over the time.
I'm like, man, I'm gonna
let me finish. You're gonna love this.
You gotta.
Red Fox always said it best. Don't ever forget who you are, where you came from. Look both ways before you cross the road. Don't drink, don't smoke, and don't lie. You don't have to remember as much.
True story. Amen.
Red Fox, Sanford and Son. You gotta love the man.
Yeah.
What year was Red Fox though?
Huh?
Was that in the 80s?
Yeah, I think that would be in the 80s. Yeah, maybe 80s. Yeah.
Sanford and Son was what, late 70s or 80s, right?
Late
Right, Keith?
70s?
Yeah.
Oh, what the heck was it? Harlem Nights.
Oh, that.
Shoot your toe off. Make me a sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Fox was amazing. Yeah,
It was funny.
I think we had a bunch of people talking before about how the world has changed and all the little things. We had Archie Bunker reels and stuff going on the other day, and I'm like, it would never work today.
No.
It would never work today. Archie Bunker when he met the Jeffersons and all this other stuff. It would make people's head explode, but it's like, some things I think people
Just
need
be
to know.
kind. It doesn't,
Just be kind and be.
I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Well, they say it's the wrong side of the tracks. I grew up on the right side of the tracks. It gave me the opportunity to just meet people and accept them for just being a person, not where they came from, their wealth, any of that stuff. I was a welfare kid growing up. I was a minority. You're either cool or you weren't. You're on a BMX bike. We're picking up chicks. Didn't matter what color, what country, anything at all.
No.
You're either cool or you weren't. And I had so many friends in high school. It was ridiculous.
It's the same way. We grew up. We always talk about that, and like I said, people that come visit us again. My cousins here, I said over there. We grew up. We didn't have a lot of stuff. I mean, we were working on. My dad was a steel worker. We had rental properties. We worked on a farm, and our clothes. We came from. We were putting stuff on layaway at Kmart. We were just talking about it. I mean, that's how we got stuff. All the cool kids. We thought when we were Jess and I just went over by the guy that does the Nintendo. You can buy those little Nintendos with the Fire Stick, right? And we were talking about it. And some guys, I'm like, we had an Atari, but I didn't really know what the heck it was. I didn't really care because I was outside on the farm all the time. Yep. And I always thought our friends that grew up that had a pair of Nikes, when Jordans came out, obviously, or they had Nintendo, or they had HBO. We didn't have any of that stuff. Our driveway was 300 feet long in the middle of a farm field. My dad's like, they can't. He made the excuse. They can't drill they don't want to pay the cable up there. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever, dude. I'm like, we figured it out. So we're all playing the rabbit. We had 4, 6, 12, and CBS or something. That's all we had, right? ABC Wide World of Sports. But after a while, you grew up, and now you look at all the stuff. We were rich. We just didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because we got to experience the world in real time, the real, and a lot of people, I'm not going to get on a tangent, but, get out there and enjoy the public, enjoy each other, be nice to each other. And look how wonderful this is. We could all be sitting around here looking at dental work. How boring would that be?
Dental work. Where did that
It's a dental.
He was talking about all the
convention. Yeah.
he was talking about all the cars.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh, where am I?
Oh yeah, I'm sticking with you.
I gotta get Dave.
Got to get me back to the home.
His sugar is low.
The sugar is low. He's
I
got
gotta get some food. The interview's over. I'm sorry, we have to go.
We got to go. Somebody get him over. Somebody get him out of here.
It's a
I'm
Sam time.
glad I brought my best friend with me.
It's
You have no
fine.
idea.
Sorry, we
That
have
one
to
made
go.
me laugh. That was good.
Yes.
But,
Like I say, this is a great community, and to have this many people that are so passionate about cars and stuff. It's just really cool because
It is cool.
we really do love what we do. We love every aspect. There's not a one car better than the other here. It's all in your heart, what you brought, and you should all be proud of your cars.
And it's a passion.
Absolutely.
All of this stuff is created out of passion. Everyone maybe have their own reasons for building a car, but they do it because they love it.
They love it.
We don't need any of this stuff.
Nope.
We do it because we love it.
Because we love it.
Period.
Yeah, and it goes through. And even as you walk around doing the crowds here, and I think when I was talking to Pete Tundas when we were doing stuff, before we started Evel Knievel Tour, he was watching, and Jess and I started screwing around in the shop here, talking when we started this whole Rev It Up podcast, like what, 2 years ago or something. It was pretty, like maybe
A year and a half ago.
year and a half ago. And she goes, why don't you start talking to people and like record it? And then I'm like, she goes, because all you do is sit around car shows and talk to other people. I'm like, all right, so we'll start talking to other builders and help them get their names out there and stuff like that. It was just something to do because we're here for what, 12, 14 hours sometimes. It's crazy.
Yep.
So next thing you know, we're doing, and Pete told us we're going on tour with this. He goes, can you bring your trailer in like a podcast show? I'm like, it's still like blue and white. We bought this from Bigfoot from the Trents. we're done. We bought this trailer. This used to be a Bigfoot trailer because we do a lot of stuff with the monster truck guys. So we go through it, and this thing was literally still like blue and white, like 2 days before we left for Kansas City. And I got to tell a story because it's hilarious. So we go through, and we have our own shop. We do stuff, not obviously this is yours, but we just have a small shop. And I'm like, they want us to put this in Kansas City in 2 weeks and do a podcast. I'm like, this thing is a kind of a pile. We just use it for like our shows in Wisconsin and sell merch out of it. You know, it's just a trailer. You can't see it. We literally went to Menards, and a buddy of mine, Bruce Wendorf, he just got on a straight shop. I'm like, did you ever use a turbo can before? The turbo can from Rust-Oleum. It's like
those are
big.
great.
Oh.
Those are great.
We literally, this is a true story. You can awesome.
Painted the Riddler car with that.
The new line of product coming out. Look at these promoting it right now.
Rust-Oleum turbo can.
We literally blasted this thing. I called my graphics guy. I'm like, give me some graphics real quick. We ripped this thing apart in 24 hours. By Wednesday, we were sitting in Kansas City, Missouri, sitting there, and we had Noel from Fast and Furious sitting there doing a podcast. We just threw this thing together, and
Still wet.
my guys were like, what's the big deal? You're not going to have a minute. And all of a sudden he came through. He goes, I didn't know you're going to have Chip Foose and everybody in the booth. He goes, I would have done a better job. And I'm like, whatever. So everybody's signing the wall and all this stuff. And I was like, so it's great. You know what? And we're leaving it the same way. So I think it's a blast because we started putting a speaker out there to bring the puff tables. And now, like, it's something just like your show. I'd like to do something that people would watch and sit down and listen to. And it's proving it right now.
Grassroots, but fun,
big fun.
and keeping it interesting. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I'll let you go on. You're probably looking for a beer by now, aren't you?
He's
Find
nap
myself a
time.
dark corner and have a beer.
Is it nap time? Just don't even say a word.
Got to get me
Say a
back
word.
to the home.
He's gonna get cookies and a nap time.
I swear, Kevin and Jens are the same time.
Twins.
I hope you get diabetes today.
You know what? You know what I'm talking about? You know what she always tells me? She always goes through it. She's got this meme. She made fun of me in this meme. And she's like, and I'll say something and I'll forget, or I'll be talking to her. And she's like, you fell asleep talking to me again. I'm like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, no. And she's like, okay, come on, Pop, time to put you to bed. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like,
Come on,
whatever.
cream puff. Let's get back to the bed.
To bed, yeah. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for stopping out.
Thank you, everybody.
It's been
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you for listening.
Dave Kindig and his
Thanks,
crew,
guys.
man,
Thank you.
Riddler Award winner, and Chicago World Wheels. Keep hanging out and enjoying it. You know,
Yeah, I love it.
love it. All right, thanks everybody. Watch.
Thanks.